Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm just going to show you how to make banana bread. Since it's St. Patrick's Day, I'm just going to make it green. And the ingredients that this is my sister, this is my sister Emma. The ingredients that you're going to need is 3 or 4 smashed bananas. I'm just going to use 3 since we need to make it crunchy. We need 1/3 cup of melted butter, which I have cooking right there. You could also use a microwave to melt it. We also need, after that, 1 cup of sugar and then 1 egg beaten. The egg, it doesn't mean it needs to be beaten. It just means to pour it in the pan and then mix it. You also need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'd recommend using this because it brings out the most flavor. Another thing you need to make the banana bread rise is baking soda, and you'll need 1 teaspoon of it. And then 1.5 cups of flour, which I'll get in a second. You could use Hungarian flour. We use Hungarian flour because we live in Colorado. And then you could also use gluten-free flour. It works perfectly the same. So it doesn't really matter which one you use. And then additionally, you could add 1 to 2 cups of walnuts or chocolate chips. I'm going to do chocolate chips because they're good. And you should before you mix them, you should put them in the cup and then put them in so that it's easier to mix. I'd recommend using the milk chocolate unless you're a fan of white chocolate or dark chocolate. The white chocolate just melt into it though, so I like using the black chocolate or milk chocolate. Sorry. I'm also, since it's St. Patrick's Day, going to use green food coloring. It looks like that, and then if you want to do that, just take a knife and scoop it onto the knife, and then just put it on in the batter and mix it up with the knife. So first, me and my sister are going to unpeel the bananas. So here. They shouldn't be too ripe, but they should be about they should look like this. Not too ripe, but not too dark.
You don't need fresh bananas. You could have bruised ones. Both work fine.
Because you can taste them, but you won't taste that it's dented or anything. Next, you have to have a mixer, or you could just mix it with a spoon. So we're using a KitchenAid mixer because it works the fastest, but you could also mix it by hand. But you might want to melt the bananas.
You could also use a hand mixer.
Because otherwise they'll get chunky.
Yeah.
Next we're going to add the 1/3 cup of melted butter. The butter should be completely melted, and if you warm it up, should look similar to this at the end. Okay. So gently pour the butter in because it's going to be very hot. Okay. So after you do that, you do 1 cup of sugar. Sugar, what I like about sugar is because it definitely adds sweetness to it. So here's our 1 cup, and we're just going to pour it in up to the brim. And then you should shake it just so that it's completely level, and then add more sugar until you have it all the way up. Next, you would add 1 egg. The egg needs to be like, make sure you have no eggshells. You should probably put it into this, or you could just do it into the side if you're really good at making eggs. So looks like this. Kind of. Yeah, looks like that. And then you pour the egg in. Next, you do 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So this is like with the sugar, and you have to do it completely to the brim. So here's our vanilla. Vanilla adds flavoring to the mix. So that's why you should use vanilla. After that, we're going to do 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Baking soda will definitely help the banana bread rise. So, yeah. Because when it's in the oven, it will rise to the temperature it needs to be at. Here, sorry this is taking me a while. I just can't, this is new. Can't open it. I like to use this Pure Baking Soda brand because it is, I've always used this one, and it definitely rises and makes it poof. So you're going to take your 1 teaspoon, and on the sides, you would need to rip it so that it's completely level and ready. So this is what the baking soda looks like. Set that off to the side. After that, we're going to do 1.5 cups of flour. The flour, could you get the 1/2 cup from the dishwasher? Thanks. The 1/2 cup of flour, I'm just going to use gluten-free flour because, yeah, because I always use gluten-free flour. So here's our 1/2 cup measure. So I'm going to do 2 half cups to make 1 whole, and then add another half. I'm just going to pour the rest in since there's not much. Okay. After that, I'm just going to mix in so right now, about when you're adding the chocolate chips or walnuts in, you want to bake your oven to 350 degrees. And then before you add your chocolate chips, it's best to mix all of your other ingredients so that the chocolate chips don't explode and go into a huge mess. The salt, I also forgot salt. You should add a pinch of salt so that it's salty, kind of. Not salty, but normal. After that, so you get an 8-inch loaf pan for banana bread. And it should look like this, the 8-inch pan. Now, since you have leftover butter, you should just spread it all on the bottom so that the banana bread does not stick to the side or to the bottom of the pan. You could also use Pam cooking spray because it is grease that will help the banana bread. So that it should look like that. And set that off to the side. Now the fun part. The fun part is that we get to add the chocolate chips and the food coloring in. So the chocolate chips, I'm just going to pour as much as I would like in. Specifically, you should pour in about 1 to 2 cups.
You don't have to use chocolate chips if you don't want to. The recipe will still turn out excellent.
Yeah. And then mix those in. Next, I'm just going to add our green food coloring, which is right here. And get it on a knife. So if you want it dark green, use a lot. But if you want it kind of light, use about that much. So I'm going to put water in a container so that the baking soda or food coloring softens a little. So when you pour it in, it should look a lot like this. See how I'm just putting the green in? Remember, you do not have to use food coloring. It will look completely the same. I just want to use food coloring today because it's St. Patrick's Day. So I'm just going to mix that in with the knife really quickly and set it off to the side. For a second. Oh, sorry. Okay. Next, you're going to mix in the green food coloring. And if you don't really like the color you have, you could always make it darker. And to lighten it, it's definitely a lot harder to lighten it. But you would just double the recipe to lighten it, which will give you a lot of banana bread. So just mix in the food coloring and the chocolate chips. And I kind of want like a Grinch green. Like, you know how the Grinch looks kind of like that? So it looks, I'll show you in a second. It looks really good for the green color. And I'm just going to set that off to the side. And I'll show you in 3 seconds. Okay? 3, 2, 1. That's what mine looks like.
Yummy.
So next, I'm just going to get a spatula. I would recommend using the Williams-Sonoma brand because their brand always sticks on and it doesn't fall off.
It's firm.
Yeah, it's firm. Okay. So you should use this so that you know that everything is perfectly mixed in. Now you should wipe everything off of it and set it off to the side. Next, if you're using a hand mixer, take this off and also set it off to the side. What you're going to do next is take your pan that's greased and take your spatula and pour all of your banana bread mix into the pan, like how I'm doing. If you see any parts that aren't cooked, or sorry, not cooked, that aren't like fully mixed, just mix it back in and it'll be all ready. try to get all of it out. Like this. Then you're going to spread it all so that it's a flat thing and not all wonky, because then when you pull it out, it's going to look like how you put it in. So it doesn't have to be perfectly flat, but it should look like that. We're going to show you what the oven is, and then put this in the oven once the oven is at 350 degrees, and you will bake this for 1 hour on 350 degrees. Thank you for watching.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Bye!